Yeah. She says recording in progress every time. What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode, another installment of the Black Man Win podcast with your boy Ty the Pod Guy. And listen, I got a great brother on this show today. As per usual, the Black Men Win tradition, we're going to let this brother introduce himself as the first question per the interview. But I just want to let y'all know this brother is a heavy hitter. Okay, I just wanted to let that be known before he introduced himself, and I want him to really just like spill it all. You know what I'm saying? Don't be humble
Okay.
with this,
Fair.
okay? Don't be
Fair.
humble with it,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I know how humble you are, but this is not the time to be that. So go ahead and tell them who you are, bro.
Okay. So my name is Wize Grazette. I am a serial entrepreneur.
Yes.
What most people know me for, and what I would like to say that I put my life's energy into thus far, is a podcast network, a Black-owned podcast network called the Indie Creative Network, where we distribute and market podcasts for Black and Brown creators, podcast creators, and we've been doing that since 2015.
Turn up.
Uh, since because of that, that led me into owning my own studio, and then eventually a studio brand called Storytime Studios, where I'm launching a new studio in Barbados. But also,
Hey.
yes. But also relaunching our New York location and then opening up an Atlanta location soon as well. So just making sure, because for me, uh, I launched my network in 2015, but I would say we really started getting moving in 2016, the end of 2016, 2017,
Yeah.
when I opened up a podcast studio originally.
Right.
And I was able to really sit down with people,
Right.
aside from being a serial entrepreneur, like I'm not just a guy that spend money. I physically be there. You feel me? Like
He does,
I'm
and
not,
that's the truth. That is very much the
yeah.
truth. Wise is, if I've known, if going into, if I want to call it aggressive networking in my
Mm-hmm,
in what I've been doing over the past 1 or 2 years,
mm-hmm.
if I could say there's one person that I know who's present in this space, it's you. You understand what I'm saying?
I
And
appreciate
in
you
the
saying that.
spaces that you create, like when he says he's a serial entrepreneur, like a lot of people look at me and say they can't keep up. I I'm like, well, you should see the people that I'm looking up to, because I can't keep up with them. So if you think you can't keep up with me, then look at the people that I have coming on my show, who I
For
have networking with. They have multiple things going on and not just podcasting. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I just
but
wanted to let it be known.
I appreciate you saying that. So I mean, yeah, like for me, I don't just spend money. I actually physically be there.
Right.
I say that to say I'm a podcast producer. I
Right.
also engineer. I get on the board and engineer for the folks,
Yep.
and that's really where my root is. A lot of the shows you listen to, like our podcast network at the time was called Indie Creative. It was just called Indie Creative Network. Now
Mm-hmm.
we have like different breakoffs and all sorts of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you listen to those shows from like 2016 to about 2018, I'd say like 90% of them was me sitting in the studio engineering for 8 and 9 hours a day,
Wow.
just grinding, meeting the host,
Yeah.
chatting with them about, producing their show and stuff and the plans that they have, but also meeting the guests. You use the
Right.
term aggressive networking. That was the most aggressive networking I had ever did in my life. And some of it
Man.
was involuntary. It was
Yo,
involuntary, honestly,
some of this stuff I'm coming to find out is very involuntary, and it's like, oh, well, okay, well, fine, that's fine.
I mean, it's like
That's it.
it's a part of this of
You
the
know, and
aggressive
and you know,
networking. It's
when
like
you get
whoosh.
brought into the space, it's like, oh, I appreciate you for bringing me into the space, even when you have some type of, I got questions, but it's like, okay, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? Thank you for thinking of me for bringing me into this space. So
Yeah.
I definitely understand that.
So that's really where I am. I'm also a father. I hold that on my
Great
chest.
father.
That has been that honestly, fatherhood is the one thing. I mean, my child is almost 10 years old now. It's the
Wow.
longest commitment that I've had in my life, right?
Yeah,
Uh, and honestly, like the two of them, like me having my child and my business, these are the only things that I really focus
absolutely.
on like I would say like a day-to-day basis, because it's generational wealth for me. Like it's
Right,
knowing that I'm taking what I'm creating and then passing it down, like having an impact and then passing that down so that my kid, even if she don't want to get involved in podcasting, like,
right,
or she doesn't want to get involved, she could say, okay, well, we still, me and my family, we still help out in podcasting this way, whether it's,
right, right.
creating a grant for people who want to start podcasting, or just opening up a studio for free for people for a little while or
Absolutely,
something like that. Just
absolutely.
those things. So, but yeah,
Man,
Wise. I'm
listen,
Wise. Hi.
that's what because Wise is out here. I actually met Wise through Afros and Audios.
Hmm.
Would you have, I don't know if you know, I'm their community manager now.
Hey,
I'm working at,
congratulations.
thank you,
Wow, I
man.
did
I
not.
appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm
Hey.
helping build their community through Mighty Networks, the app. So
Mm-hmm.
um
Oh, very familiar with
yeah,
Mighty Networks.
yeah, I was
Very
like,
nice app.
yo, I was getting familiar with it this whole week because I just take,
Mm-hmm.
just 2 hours out of my day just to,
Mm-hmm.
get that
Mm-hmm.
popping. And man, Mighty Networks is fucking ridiculous. I'm like, oh my god, it's so much shit. I like that. Those first 2 days of actually just going through the courses and learning everything, like taking notes
Mm-hmm.
and everything. Like I have like 3 pages of notes, and I'm just like, oh
Yeah.
my god, it was just so much. I'm like, y'all have all of this, but the one thing that I got from it was like, I love the fact that they're trying to rebuild community through like the internet, because we don't see that with a lot of these social media platforms now. Everything
Yeah.
is very much content creator based and
Yeah.
business based. So the fact that Mighty Networks is having a platform that, okay, we can bring community, but we can also bring courses that can
Mm-hmm.
help. It's teaching. It's all of it's so many things that I'm like, wow, this is great. This is really really dope.
Yeah, that's the one thing I would say that I like about Mighty Networks and just other
Hmm.
organizations as well too. It's not just about what product are you selling, or
Right.
are you
Right.
presenting to people. Are you teaching them how to use it? Do they
Exactly.
know what is actually happening?
Exactly. Exactly.
Except that you have them on the subscription. Like,
Right.
what is the what's
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
what's
yeah.
actually going on?
Right, right. So let's get into the show. My second question for you is: do you believe that as Black men, we support each other enough in these areas, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, and financially? What do you say to that?
Uh, so you're talking about in my personal life, or
And
just in,
your
in
or
general?
and you can go either way. I'm not gonna ask for general
Yeah,
or personal. You can go either way. You can give me both.
bet. Okay. So I would say that in general, I don't think we do so as much. I
Right.
find that um I really hate to be that person, but I find that on social
Be it.
media, on social
Be
media,
it. Yeah.
we really do spend a lot of time. We just being general spend a
Right.
lot of time uh, promoting what we do
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then arguing in between.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, like we literally scroll to find things that we disagree with, and from what I see, I don't follow a whole ton of people
Right.
on Twitter. I'm talking about Twitter specifically. I don't follow a whole ton of
Right.
people,
Right.
but it's just it's very rough if you are not mentally all there to see people dog people that look like you all day long,
Has it
right?
become very toxic in these streets now?
Very. And I mean, honestly, if I'm being real, like Twitter has always been that way. Like,
It's
I
facts.
I
Right.
will talk for myself that I used to go on Twitter and I would spew the things that I might not say out loud, or because I was just pissed
Absolutely.
off. And I'm like, I don't want to say these things to people in front of me, or I don't want to say them to, but I got
Absolutely.
so they gotta come off my chest. You understand?
Absolutely.
And I
That
think
became
that
a lot for social media platforms like Facebook,
yes,
Twitter, all of everybody was like that for a minute.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So what I say all that to say, when you look at it from the outside looking in,
Right.
right? not pointing a finger at any particular organization that is specifically doing this.
Right.
You don't see it. You don't see it. Now, there are tons of organizations, tons upon tons, in cities and states and counties
Right.
and
Right.
boroughs
Right.
and parishes all across this country where there are organizations for black men, white men, green man, red man, purple man, every kind of man to
Yeah.
be involved with and, commune, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's about your openings to do that as well too. And for me, I'm not as open, right, for
And
those things.
thank you for saying that. I
Yeah.
think you're the first person
I'm be real with it. I'm be real
who
with
I've asked that
it.
question to, and that hit me something different because we kind of have to be honest in that form, right? Like we listen, we would love and want to be as forgiving as our Wahite counterparts, or as groupful, or as even as loving, even if you don't love the person, right? I've worked in Wahite spaces so long that I've seen like them chew at each other and literally dog each other out, and then the next day it's like kumbaya, my lord, we're fine.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, we can't do that. If we chew each other out, it's like chew. We ain't talking for maybe 5-10 years until something tragic happens to where we then
Mm-hmm.
have to come together. We got to talk. Do you
Mm-hmm.
see why?
Mm-hmm.
You,
It's
you
very true.
you're the first person to say that. Like, yo, I'm not. I want to be,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm not. Not right now, at least. I'm not
Listen.
there.
I had a period of time where I wanted to appear as perfect as possible.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not realistic, bro. It's not
yeah,
realistic. I
yeah.
know like what made me a more perfect person, and I'm using
Mm-hmm.
air quotes for people that can't see me, is the fact that I recognize what I'm not good at.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
recognize the flaws that I have, and I at least actively try to work on them.
Right.
Like it's hard because you got to be honest with yourself,
Absolutely.
but it is
Absolutely.
10 times it is worse for you to lie to yourself, because then you're going to be lying your way through everything.
Right.
When do you really look at it for what it really is,
Right.
and a lot of people don't do that as well too. So
I hear you.
but we here we here
We're we're
we here.
here.
A couple years ago I would have couldn't have said that neither,
You
but
and
it's
and
growth.
that's growth. You know what I'm saying? That's really growth. But to still be open to like you said, there are so many organizations out here um that are resourceful for us as black men.
Mm-hmm.
I think in those areas. I don't think sometimes we take the necessary steps to go seek them,
Yeah.
or maybe like you said, first of all, seek it within ourselves, because we have to first seek help with ourselves first. We have to help ourselves first. We have to
Yeah.
crawl before we can walk. A lot of us as black men want to just run or sprint all the damn time, right? Like sometimes if you run too much, you might clip your knee, you might split your
Mm-hmm.
knee, you might tear your ACL, and now
Yeah.
really life has put you, in this predicament where now instead of running or crawling or even walking, you're now somewhat not can't even move.
Yeah.
So it's like don't cripple yourself too early when trying to, and I think that's a shift that's happening within black male culture, is that we're
For
getting,
sure.
even though mental health has become like the mainstream thing and everybody want to blame it on, I think it's a little bit too aggressive. However,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do still advocate for mental health, specifically for black people and especially for black men.
Yeah.
um we have to look deep. We got to understand where all this trauma comes from and everything, why we can't um support ours the way others support theirs, even
There's.
through trauma and turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's big. I think what you said is big. So I think that's going into question number 3. And I think you touched on it earlier. Do we let our generational curses in our community of black men hinder us from experiencing and realizing our true potential? What you got to say to that?
Well, I guess the generational curse thing is more of a personal thing because you have
Right.
to, for one, you got to actually know that you have to be aware of generational curses, then aware
Absolutely.
of the fact that you have some as well too. So
Ooh,
that's a two-step
come
process
on
that
now.
a lot of
Come
people
on
don't
now.
even get into,
Yep.
right? But on the other side though,
Yeah, I know
tell
this
me the
question is
question.
deep.
Yeah, I'm about to say now. Tell me the question again. I had something I wanted to say, but I veered off a little bit.
So when it comes to generational curses, do we continue to let our generational curses in our community of black men, right? Just our community as black males, when you've grown up, when you've seen and been around black men, um, do you think the generational curses that have been bestowed
Mhm.
upon us is kind of hindering us from realizing our true potential and maybe getting to the point where hey we are we can look deep within inside ourselves. Now I'm not saying you got to be super duper heavenly emotional and cry all
Yeah,
day,
yeah, yeah.
right? But there's a level of emotion that needs to be felt
Hmm.
within a male soul because men have emotions, we show it all the
Yeah.
time.
So is it hindering us? Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like that's what curses do.
Right.
You know, I think
Right,
you just
right.
got. I think you just have to. It's a lot of just about just learning yourself. Because I mean, I could go down my list. You know, I've had.
Hmm.
I would say at least a couple, at least two generational curses that I've like attempted to break myself. Right, and
That's great.
you break them, but then you kind of create new one.
New
Like
one.
I don't think there's ever. So
Ooh.
actually, that's what I would say. I don't really think there's ever a time where we're going to be breaking them and they're not going to be new
Other
ones
ones.
forming,
Wow.
and it's not going to hinder us there too. I say
Talk
that because,
to
like
us.
I am, like I said, my father as well, right?
Right,
My
right,
my parents were a little, they were strict, but not too strict.
right, right,
I'm not as strict as either of them, right?
right, right.
So my kid is not gonna probably might not be strict or might be too strict based on what I didn't do, which she might feel as a curse. So
Oh,
what I might think I'm giving her as a gift
oh,
might
ooh.
not be, oh, I wish my dad was a little more, you understand? So
Okay.
it's a constant cycle. It's just about are you
So it's
being
like
aware
an
of it.
infinity thing in
Yep.
a sense where I get, oh wow, I didn't even think about it like that. Like if
So,
I'm
it's
giving you this gift,
mm-hmm.
because maybe in our ancestors' mind, generations back, they were giving us gifts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're oh my god, that just kind of just whoosh, just everything like whoa. Because yes, if they were looking at this like, okay, yeah, this shit is traumatic as fuck, but if we can give them something, that's a
Mm-hmm.
gift.
Mm-hmm.
If we're looking at it as curses to break, right,
Yeah.
and not as gifts, or looking, even if it is a curse, right, looking
Mm-hmm.
through all the darkness to find the gift in it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh my god.
So, and I mean, and really
Wow.
the gift could be as simple as, okay, this happened to you. You didn't like this. You don't want this to happen
Right.
to no one else moving forward. It could be just as
Exactly.
simple as that.
That's it.
Just the
Wow.
awareness
Yeah.
to say, dang, I went through this. Don't want it to do it to my kid, my nephew, niece, whatever,
Exactly.
whatever.
Exactly.
Just it's just that. It's just
That's
that.
breaking generation. That that right there. I think what you just said right there is going straight into question 4. And literally it's like what can we do as black men individually to help improve our
Mhm.
communities? And that right there. One, just what Wise said is like, yo, we have to first of all realize, and
Mhm.
here on this show right now on this episode, it just clicked. Okay, because I don't know how many times, and I'll say that I don't know how many times I've admitted, like, yo, I'm trying to break generational curses, not really understanding that they're not curses. They're gifts in
Mhm.
some way, shape, or form. Like, yeah, I'm like, looking back at my childhood was fairly cool. Like I wasn't as
Mm-hmm.
bad as, crazy. I wasn't too spoiled, Boy is intelligent out here. Got 2 degrees. Okay, we're fine. Right, we're good. Everything that I was going through, even if it was maybe a financial stint or whatever, I'm like, what you just said really clicked in my head because I'm like, yo, I've always looked at it as a curse, not in any way, or even tried to find the gift in maybe the negativity of what I was looking at in that curse.
Yeah, yeah. And
So I
we do
go
get
ahead.
caught up in it. We do get caught up in it
Right.
because like
You're right.
it's our ego involved in it as well too. It's like, well, this hurt me, so I'm hurt. So it gotta
Exactly.
be a curse.
Yes. It gotta be a curse. We need to break it. We gotta break it.
And it's not
Wow.
always like that.
You're right. No, for real. And I think, like I said, that goes into question number 4. What can we do better as Black men individually, to help improve our overall community for the next generation? I think this is a great question. One of my favorite questions to ask because I get so many great different answers. And I would
Mm-hmm.
love to hear what your thoughts on continuing because now we are the adults, Wise. Us upper 20s,
Yes, we are.
30s, lower 30s. We're weird. One thing that I had to come to terms with, and it was hard to come to terms with it, OG. Like it was like, okay, you're becoming the adult now, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're becoming one of the people, and know and respectively to the social media influencers, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you're becoming one of the people that really are about to hold some type of influence in here.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
real influence, real impact. You're on that path. And I'm like, what? I'm on that? Are we adulting on that level? It's like, and I see all of my people around me, whether they're the same age as me, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
year behind me, and definitely those like you who are killing it at everything that you're doing. All of the people that I look up to and network with, I can say off nothing are jack of all trades. You guys do it all. You understand what I'm saying? So
You
it
have to. We
go
had to. We had to. We had to.
so
And I think
how
it's
right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
that was I didn't want to lead into your question. Just say it for me one more time.
What can we do as better as Black men individually
Yeah.
to help improve our community for the next
So
generation?
it's really empathy. And I mean
Talk
that's
about
just
it.
where I'm just
Talk
gonna
about
leave
it.
it
Let's
at.
talk about it.
It's
Yeah.
empathy because you know in all the work that I've done,
Yeah.
right? Everything I've been involved in,
Mm-hmm.
the thing that I enjoy the most, right, are the moments where I sat down with someone I was working with, right,
Mm-hmm.
or just sat down with someone who visited the studio. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be doing any work,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just having those conversations, and we're able to just like talk out the things that we're going through, right?
Yes.
We're able
Yes.
so
Yes.
like for me, every in even the businesses that I had created previous to learning to really like grasping the fact that people just need people to support them
That's
and
it.
be there to comfort them
That's it.
and give them some of the bare
That's it.
basic needs that humans need. So when you see like organizations that they're like a after school organization or a Saturday organization and they got 8 people there, you're thinking, oh, that's not a whole lot of people. That's 8 people, whether it's kids, teens, adults, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that every day or every week or however whatever the whatever like however times they meet a week or a month or whatever, they're changing their lives step by step with people who actively also want to do the same thing,
Exactly.
right? So it's empathy to know that not everyone knows what you know, empathy to understand that not everyone comes from what you come from, not
Mm-hmm.
everyone has what you has, and literally when you strip away a lot of those things, we're all just human.
That's
And
it.
we're all confused a lot of the time. We don't know
Yep.
what the hell is going on. We literally barely making it through life by the seat of our pants,
Ah, by the
just
skin of our teeth,
trying
man.
to do what we do, whether it's podcasts or whether you're an actor, actress, whatever you want to do, like we need people. So, and people don't want to be around people who aren't empathetic. So
Absolutely.
empathy. Like if you go tell someone something and they completely ignore you or they like shit on what you're trying to explain to them, or like that sucks. You remember those things as a person that really let you down when you really needed
Oh,
that comfort.
trust me,
So to have a
I was one
space,
of those people.
understand? So to have a space where you can be
Yeah,
there, you
yeah,
can gain the empathy. And, sometimes you don't get it. A lot of we are dealing. I say empathy regarding men because sometimes we're a little rough around the edges, right?
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
it is about being empathetic to the ones who are not as rough as you, and then the ones who are less rough, being empathetic to
The
realizing that
ones
the ones that are rougher than you, they have reason to be that way. Whether it's
exactly.
their survival mode, you might
Come
be dealing with
on,
survival mode too,
Wise.
and it's reflecting differently. So it's
Come
just
on, Wise.
empathy,
Come on,
empathy, my brother.
Wise. Come on. Wise is blessing us with some gems right now. I don't think y'all hearing my brother right now. Like empathy, not
Empathy.
not sympathy. Okay, I want that to be heard. Not sympathy. Okay, because if you're giving sympathy, that's not going to do anything. That's only going to make the situation worse. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's almost like pity.
Right, you're pitying me. No,
It's very close to it. Yeah.
empathy, understanding the possible situation, being very heartwarm and heartfelt, being like, hey, if you need anything at all, let me know. I may not have been in your situation, but if you need anything from me, I'm just a phone call. It's stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Is being present, even if you don't know what or understand what somebody is going through. And as black men, I love us, but we ain't all the way present sometimes. Most of the
Mm-mm,
time.
mm-mm,
I
mm-mm.
was
We're
just
not.
I
We're
was
not.
just on the subway. Lady calling her dude. She like Terrence. Terrence. He got the headphones in, his two daughters on him. He was a girl dad. So he got his two
Yeah.
daughters right there, and she Terrence, Terrence, Terrence. And and I was about to like, cause I'm like, oh my God, she's gonna scream some more. So I was about to touch him, but then the
Yeah.
daughter
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, she mimicked her mama was like Terrence, Terrence. And I was like, bro, I was like, I almost died laughing because he was like, what? And I was like, see,
Yeah.
we got to be more aware,
Oh
right?
man.
We have to be more present. It's the little things like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we have to be more present. And that's a funny example, but it's just an example to say we have to be more present in the moment when we're being compassionate and everything. Right now, I get that a lot of us may not have seen compassion, may not even know what
Mm-hmm.
compassion looks like.
Yes.
But if somebody has showed you some type of, hey, I'm gonna let this slide, or hey, it's all good, or hey, we good, that's compassion.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
some type of empathy because they ain't have to let you do anything. Okay. Now they could have sat here and maybe whopped up off you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all could have sat
Mm-hmm.
here and fought in the, but listen, it could have went somewhere else that didn't need to be because you experienced somebody's compassionate side. Now that may not look to you as compassion, the ones on the rougher edges, but it's like, yo, understand that when somebody who isn't that rough like you gives you that compassion, just take it and be like, yo. And then on the flip side, like you
Mm-hmm.
said,
Mm-hmm.
if compassion is coming back at you, just
Yeah.
empathy is something that we as black men need to practice more often. And that's just period.
So
And
it
go
really,
ahead.
hopefully we could get like, I mean, for me, my one of my aspirations, and this is why I tie back into my business. Like I try to, like my goal is to have a program where like we're getting kids as young as like 7 and 8, and
Right.
being able to bring them up in a program where they're able to express themselves artistically through podcasting,
Right.
but then also like commune, and we can identify these things that they're going through, right? And try to, I don't want to even use the word mold. I don't want to mold anybody into anything. But
Exactly.
just so you can be aware, like, hey, you're only 8 years old, so this is not as serious now. But what you're saying to this person is making them feel away, and you got to understand
Yeah.
why.
You got to
You
be a
know.
guide. It's like a guide. It's like like you said, it's not molding, right? Because I don't want to sit here and control you or have you
Mm-hmm.
as clay and mold you into my little experiment. No, that's not what we're saying. I think it's guiding you. It's at this point I'm gonna hold your hand. Like you're gonna point to say, "Ooh, what's that?" And we can go over there and see what it is. If it's not good, then let's go back, right?
Yeah.
But I'm your guide. You understand what I'm saying? Um,
Otherwise, we got kids guiding kids, and then
but
older
that and
kids
that's the
guiding them,
and
and then they
that's the
don't know
thing,
neither.
and that's
So
the
it's like,
thing. Being a guide can be very when we're talking about being a guide or being a mentor in any form. I think that mentorship nowadays is very it has a negative connotation in a lot of senses.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I think we definitely pay respect to the positives. Absolutely, because I don't think I would have been here without positive mentorship like yourself. Um, even having this platform, you understand what I'm
yeah,
saying? But we also have to call out that there is probably a little bit more negative mentorship going on than there needs than positive. There
mm,
that like I think that can be 100%, concrete. There is not a lot of positive mentorship that's going down the road. And if we want to get really, really, real, there's not a lot
mm,
of like pouring into positively to black men to black men. And like why I said it's kids to kids now.
yeah,
Kids are having kids. First of all, kids have been having kids
forever.
since forever.
Yeah.
But I know in my lifetime to see that kids was having kids by the time I was in high school,
Mm-hmm,
damn near
mm-hmm,
damn near by the time I was in middle school, I'm like, yo, how are you even?
yeah.
You know, grandma raising her or raising him, raising the child, grandpa, mom, your dad,
Mm-hmm,
like, and it's just like I was like, no, I'm not even ready. I was like, I'm a 14-year-old kid. Like my mama would look at me like, what is you doing? Like, what are you
Would you
doing?
even have known what you was doing at 14? Could you even have
No.
claimed to have
I
known
mean,
that?
like, let's be real. Like,
Yeah,
of course, you're exploring at 14. You're a
mm,
preteen,
yeah,
right? I'm sitting here. I'm watching HBO, subscriptions and Girls Gone Wild. Like, yeah, okay, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You know what it is.
yeah,
But at the same time, it's like, well, I'm not gonna go that route though. Like, especially to go the route of, hey, I'm gonna get you possibly pregnant at that age to where now 18 years of your whole preteen teen to 30s
young
existence is
adult,
now
mm-hmm,
that is done.
mm-hmm,
You're kaput, finished.
yeah,
And so it's just like, wow, we I think, as like I said, as black men, need to have more empathy for everything.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I think that will create a better community for us, for not only us as men, but for us as people. So, Wise, I want to
yeah.
ask you last question. What does black men win mean to you? When you hear the phrase, what does that mean to you?
What it means to me is just it's excellence. It is black men recognizing other black men for the things that they do. It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be nothing grandiose,
right,
like I celebrate black men that do things that are, the what that might seem like, small, what people think is small to me, like, yeah,
right, right,
I have a podcast studio. That don't mean that's literally a piece of my life.
right,
If my little
right.
cousin came in here and told me that, yo, like I just won a championship game, or yo, we just literally not even the championship
We
game,
out
yo,
here, turn
we
up.
was at the corner, I mean, we was at the schoolyard, and I hit the final shot. Like, I'm super hyped for you,
No,
because that's a
legit.
feeling of joy that does not come that often, especially in the
Yeah,
time we're living in now.
yeah,
You have to really take in those joyous
yeah,
moments.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's about really taking that time. Like, for me, I was not really good at living in the moment. You said
Mm-hmm.
being present. I wasn't really good at that. I was very good at multitasking in
Mm-hmm.
every aspect of my life, and it worked out in some aspects, but in other aspects, it's detrimental, because you're not here. You're
Right.
thinking 3 months apart when I'm sitting here in front of you asking you a question about something that's happening right now at 12:15.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so it is a, I would say it's just it's a combination of just like recognizing and appreciating the moment of the joy that we did something and acknowledgement
Yes.
of that, because we just,
Amen.
there isn't a lot of acknowledgement for the things that we do, you know.
Absolutely.
Uh some of our finish lines, right, are really far apart.
Right.
some of us
Yeah.
some of us are literally running like triathlons or something like that, when we could be running 100 meters,
Yeah. And not really
enjoying
putting.
that. Yeah, and then, you know, boom, the next 100 meters, you know, you got another 100 meter. We got a heat, we got 4 heats, you got the actual finals right after this, we
Right.
got a whole
Right.
nother we got a whole other meet a
Got the
week
four by
later.
four.
Yeah, like there's so much. So, you know, just
Mhm.
really like enjoying those moments, like taking
Absolutely.
the moment for what it is. That's what black men win means to me.
Hey, turn up. I really do appreciate, first of all, you coming on the show, because that's what it means. It means celebrating, the spaces is celebrating black men who continuously, um intentionally try in all of those
Mm-hmm.
areas that we talked about, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, right? Because I think when we consistently, intentionally try to better ourselves in those areas, right? And nobody's saying that you need to, it's going to change overnight, right? It's never
Mm-hmm.
going to do
It's
that. But
not.
if you're putting in the work and being intentional about putting in the work, then when you see the growth, like you could have like 0% in all of those, hell,
Mm-hmm,
and then
mm-hmm,
maybe after a month you see like 5% in growth in your spiritual, you know, walk, you know, you and God, or whoever you pray to, you know what I'm saying, your emotional walk, your physical walk, your financial walk, you start to see the increases. And
mm-hmm,
sometimes it's better to just see small increases when you're doing a lot,
mm-hmm.
instead of just trying to get it all at one time, because you're gonna burn yourself, you're gonna
You're gonna
burn
bring it
yourself out,
out. Mm-hmm.
you're gonna overwork and everything like that. So I know one thing that I've definitely understood about myself is that I had to take a step back. I had to be like, okay, I'm doing a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put a little bit into this, a little bit into that, a little bit into this, and then I'll put majority into this, right? And so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
once you like calculate that in your mind and you have your own like kind of groove, you understand like, okay, we're good, we can make this happen, this can be done, but it all takes a little structure, it just takes a little
Yes.
work, it
Yes.
takes being intentional. And I
Yes.
think, like I said, this is the space for that, right? We have these conversations and we talk about, um the things that we talk about, because I really want to make black men, win a thing. I want this to be a thing that people say, you know what, from honestly, from the thug on the street to the dude that's cutting your hair, to the lawn, to the black man that's mowing your lawn, to us sitting here right now. I want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that they know, like, yo, you're winning. You understand what I'm saying? You are doing your thing. It doesn't matter what part of life you're in. If you are trying to be better, you're winning, and that's it.
A phrase, I've been getting into finance since the pandemic started, and one of the phrases I learned,
Mhm.
which ties into what you was talking about, was compound interest.
Yeah, I learned
Sometimes
that
you
in high
don't really
school.
know. Sometimes you don't really know how compound interest works.
Yep,
You just know that it's going up.
it's going up.
So you putting in that little bit of time, that little bit of effort, the intention behind
Right,
it,
right.
slowly but surely, it grows. You know, like
Yep.
I would find myself that I wasn't as kind as I would like to be, or I wasn't as kind as I like to be. So I put up a little sign in my room. Like I literally just drew it out myself, you know,
Hmm.
visual face, words. Be more kind. Literally just been looking at that thing for at least 3 years now. I
Yep.
find myself, I'm a smidgen more kinder now. And I
That's
say
it.
smidgen for me because the smidgen is a lot. Like, you know, like I'm more kind
Right.
because I understand things like empathy. I understand things like,
Yeah.
you know, so just just me doing that one picture, that started my interest.
Absolutely.
And everything on top of that then compounded to me getting to where I am today.
Right.
You know,
And
so yeah, I just
and
got
you're
this.
and you're a black man who win Wize, and we appreciate you for coming on the show, man. Thank you so much. Tell the people where
Thank
they can
you.
find you if you want them to find you at all.
Oh man! So first, thank you for having
Because
me.
Wize be on the move, man. I'll be telling y'all, Wize
Bruh,
be.
bruh. If y'all, if people only really knew how much I actually be on the move, I'd
Oh
be
my
trying to be low key
God.
with it. I'm not gonna lie, I'll be a little low key with it. You know, but no. So if you want to find me, I am on social media. My social medias are all the real Wize. Wize spelled with a Z, Wize. I'm on all platforms, but you can find me the most active on Twitter because I'm not posting pictures every day on Instagram, and I am slightly repulsed by Facebook. If you want to catch me live, I am actually a official host for an app called Bigo. So I'm on Bigo. It's the same ID, the real Wize. You can find me on there. If you have any podcast questions, I answer those on there, and questions about Bitcoin.
Got you. All right. That's our guy Wize. So I appreciate everybody for coming in and joining the show. Please follow us at underscore BMW podcast. You can also follow me at underscore Ty the Pod Guy. This episode will be exclusively on our Patreon. So if you want to come
Hey,
into our Patreon, please come in for $4 a month. You can watch all exclusive live videos from here or exclusive videos from this podcast and others on our network. Also follow the THC network, our podcast network, on Instagram and Twitter at the THC network _ and I think that's it. You can also follow us on YouTube. You can also follow the network on YouTube. Same thing. And that's it. We are out of here. I love you guys. Love, peace, and hair grease. We will see you all for the season finale
oh
for
yeah,
season 1. Okay, so I got something special cooking up for that one. All right, so we'll see you guys later. Peace, love, and hair grease.
hey.